Hey, 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 good looking. I'm so glad that you came to my kitchen today because I'm going to sit there and show you just how easy it is to do a pork loin, and we're going to do it Sous Vide style. So grab a hold of that vine and swing on to my kitchen and let's get cooking. Good looking. So you want to sit there and Sous Vide up a bourbon glazed pork loin. Great! But first, before we can even start any of that, we have to make a rub. So let's go ahead and let's dive right on in. So what you're going to be needing is 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a little dish here, and I'm putting it all in. And now you're also going to be needing 1 teaspoon of garlic powder as well. So go ahead, get that, put that all in. 1/2 teaspoon of chipotle powder. Add that. 1 teaspoon of the paprika. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. 1 teaspoon salt, and I use kosher salt. And 1 teaspoon of pepper. And also 2 tablespoons brown sugar. Oh, this was too funny. I wish the camera was rolling when my youngest came walking in through the door and he found out what I'm making for supper. So he goes and he runs and he's contributing the bourbon because this is his kind that he loves to drink. And usually I make it out of my beloved Jack Daniels, but because he's home, I'm gonna sit there and make it out of his Knob Creek. So I had to mix up some brown sugar. So here is my brown sugar that I've already mixed up. And now all we have to do is sit there and add all the dry ingredients to our brown sugar, or I'll just sit there and put the brown sugar in with the spices. Now, I'm going to sit there and give this all a good mix. And don't rush this. Take your time when you're sitting there mixing your dry rubs all together. Now, like I said, I'm going to sit there and take my time and make sure I have everything all mixed into that brown sugar I just made, because I'm telling you, when you sit there and you just give it that little extra bit of love, it shows through in the layer of flavors that everybody is sitting there savoring on. So I'll be back when I'm all done mixing this all up. Alright, now we're going to need some more brown sugar, and I have approximately about 2 tablespoons again of brown sugar in the measuring cup. Now you're going to want to sit there and take, oh boy, Come on, hands. Don't fail me now. Cool. A tablespoon of your choice of bourbon. And now we're just gonna sit there and give this all a good mix. You're gonna want all the sugar to dissolve with all that bourbon. And then I'm gonna sit there and put this in a covered container until I need to use this bourbon glaze. Oh, but it smells divine in here. Oh my goodness. And I do love that my boys love cooking with whiskey and all that like their mom does here. They do now know as an adult that it is a layer of flavor to savor on. And it's an important layer of flavor to savor. Now, I do like doubling up on the glaze because I do love dipping in the finished product just into some glaze. I mean, oh yeah, just a thought. So I might make a double batch of the glaze. And like I said, I'm just gonna sit there and put my glaze right away into a covered container until I am ready to use it. So I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, here's our bourbon glaze that we're gonna be glazing it off with. Here's our dry rub. Now let's go and grab that pork loin. Alright, we have our glaze made, we have our rub made. I have my Ziploc baggie sitting off on the side waiting for the pork loin. And now I bought a whole pork loin right here, and I'm just gonna cut this up, and I'm gonna sit there. I'm not gonna do the whole pork loin this way. I'm only gonna do a portion of it, but I'm gonna cut off enough to do a meal. Now, I was looking over the pork loin that I bought, and I'm going to choose to use the most fattiest end. So I'm going to cut that part off. Now, with this end, I'm just going to sit there and score my meat. And this is also part of the reason why I chose the fat end part of this loin, because this is the part that works excellent for doing this style and for what I need it for. So I'm going to continue to, score my meat like this. We're not cutting it deep. It may look like I am, but no. I'm cutting through that fat cap. Let me just... Okay, now I'm gonna sit there and turn it, and now I'm just gonna cut it this way. More or less, I'm scoring it. It's gonna have pretty little cubes throughout the top. It's gonna allow the dry rub to go all into each one of these little hunks and help flavor our pork loin through the cooking process of being sous vide. Now, I'm only scoring it on the fat side. Now, I'm going to put my glaze over there. I'm going to grab some of my dry rub here. And we're just going to sit there and liberally sit there and put it over the top. And you're going to want to work it into each one of them little cubes that I have cubed up all along the top. And save some of this rub for the back side. So now, just sit there with your hands. Get it all down inside of them cubes. And now I'm just going to sit there and flip this over, and we're going to put the rest of the dry rub on this side. So I'll be back when I'm all done. There's the dry rub all over the pork loin. We did all sides of it. Now grab a hold of that Ziploc baggie, and we're just gonna sit there and place the pork loin inside. Now when I'm placing mine in, I like to fold down the top of the bag. That way we're not gunking up where the zipper closure of the bag is. So I don't know if that's in. I'm hoping that. I'm in desperate need of a cameraman, Santa. So if you're watching, please, Santa, send me a real cute, sexy one if you're gonna give me one. Okay. Go ahead, put yours down inside the Ziploc baggie like this. I'm going to remove my cutting board. I'm going to wash up my hands. Go ahead, fold this all up. And I'm going to sit there and fold this over because we're trying to remove as much air as possible. Now if you have a food saver system, you can go ahead and vacuum seal this, but I mean it's really not necessary. I mean it's gonna cook either way, but like you see, I removed most of the air. Now I'm gonna go get my pot that I'm gonna be cooking this pork loin in, and I'm gonna be grabbing my sous vide. Fill your kettle up with water. Okay, the sous vide is filled up. My kettle is full of water. Here is my pork loin. We're gonna go ahead, put this down inside, and let it go all the way down to the bottom. dry my hand off, and now we're gonna come up here. We're gonna set the temperature to 140, I believe. Yep, it is 140. Had to make sure I had my notes right and I was remembering right. Okay, and then we're gonna come, I'm gonna set the time for 10 hours, and I'll see you then. Bye. Alright, I removed the sous vide, and now here is the pork loin. We're gonna sit there and take it out of the baggie here.
Careful, Ma, it's hot.
And I'm gonna remove the whole thing. We're gonna put it on our tray, and I'm gonna sit there and still have that fat cap side up. That way, when I put this underneath the broiler, it's gonna sit there and flavor this whole pork loin. But before we can even do that, remember that bourbon glaze? Especially with my son's whiskey. Well, we're gonna sit there and now put it all over the top of this, and then we're gonna put it under the broiler, and we're gonna brown this all up. So I'll be back to baste. Okay, it's all about the base. The base. The base. See, my little girl in there even agrees with me. Grab your bourbon glaze, and that's right. We're gonna sit there, pour some over, and we're gonna baste this baby all up. And be generous with it.
Yeah.
Baby girl. So now I'm going to put this underneath the broiler, and we're going to brown this baby all up. Okay, here's our pork loin, fresh out of the oven. As you see, we browned it up. Now, let that sit for at least 10 minutes or so the juices all go back up into the meat, and after that, it's bon appetit. Now, that's how easy it was to sous vide a pork loin up. Now, if you liked what you saw here today, give me a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, go up, hit that subscribe button, tap that little bell. That way you'll always be notified every time I do put on a new video. And if you're a new subscriber, hey, welcome. And here's to happy cooking, but better yet, happy eatings. Y'all come back now. You hear?